Good morning and happy Monday. I hope you guys are all excited to be getting into a new week. I always think to myself, based off of my past, how every day really can mark a new start. There was days that I decided I was tired with what I was doing before and I'm going to make a change, regardless if that was with I was tired with not having enough exercise, and I decided, come this day, starting tomorrow, I'm going to start going to the gym every day. I'm going to put 30 minutes in. I'm going to put some work in, and make a new healthy decision for myself. But sometimes you go through a week, and the week was a little bit harder to shake. A lot of things could have happened during the week that were hard for you to be like, I can just start over tomorrow and have a better day because it was just piling on for the week. But we're at a new day of a fresh new week. So if you can make a difference, from one day to a next, you can definitely make a difference going into a new week. So if we did have a week where, there's some things we need to shake off, there's some ideas that we had that we implemented that just didn't work, now is the perfect time to take advantage of the fact that it is a fresh new week, a new start, and we can implement things that are more serving for ourselves. All right, so the first thing I wanted to go over in terms of copy trade, our general voice chats that we have, is always staying on top of developments that may help us. One new development you guys may have saw me post into the flood room yesterday was with Trojan's bot, and it was actually specific for copy trade. So I think in that regards, it's definitely important to go through this to see how this new update for Trojan that we'll see in our copy trade menu could serve us. Serve us to be better copy traders, serve us to make better decisions when we're trying to make our strategies, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And before I go on any further, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay and that you can see my screen okay.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. So I'm going to pull up my Trojan bot here. Let's see. Shouldn't be too far down. All right, I got it here, and I'm going to go all the way back to the starting menu so you guys can follow along with me. Okay, so now I'm back to our starting menu, and this one's really easy to find in terms of the new update because all we have to do is go to copy trade here. So the same place we would go if we wanted to add our traders, we're going to select. All right, so let's say we just found a new wallet that we wanted to add, or we could say we were editing an old wallet to add this feature to it. But let's just go that we were adding a new wallet. So I'm going to press new here, and we're going to see the same menu we were used to, where we add the tag, we give a name to our wallet, we also add obviously the wallet address, our buy percentage, or if we want to buy not a percentage, obviously we would do like 1 SOL, 0.5 SOL, whatever we wanted to do here for our buy percentage or buy amount. Obviously buy and sell gas, which I told you guys hasn't really been reflective for me. The buy and sell gas typically just uses the general gas that I put in the main menu. But yeah, it displays that copy, sells, slippage. But now where it gets interesting is now we're seeing we're seeing a new section. So it starts with this minimum liquidity and minimum market cap and max market cap. Okay, so you can see this and not really make sense of it if you didn't really see the update and might not really know what this could be useful for in terms of your copy trading and your strategies. But let me give you a couple of examples of how this could be used so you guys can think about, all right, well, there's some instances where this may have been useful for me, or there's some instances where I'm going to want to set parameters for this to utilize this to kind of cut out some stuff that you don't want happening within your copy trades. All right, so we'll start with minimum liquidity. And this is just going to mean that at the time of the copy trade, there has to be a minimum liquidity amount in order for you to be able to actually enter your copy trader's trade. And to give you an example, the minimum liquidity could look something like this. I'm just pulling up Sol's price now to give us an idea. So Sol's price right now is at $175.74. So let's just place it at $175. So the minimum liquidity, for example, if they added 10 Sol, which is quite a popular amount that's added to these shitcoins. So 10 Sol would work out to be with a starting liquidity of 1,750. Minimum liquidity would be the starting balance before obviously people started buying tokens and more liquidity started getting added as people started buying tokens. But by knowing that, we have an instance to say that, well, if a token starts off with minimum liquidity and it's something in and around what we're used to seeing around 10. Some people do 8 sols, some people do 12 sols, some people obviously will do higher. But, you know, we see with a lot of these shitcoins that they come back at around 10 minimum liquidity. So we might want to set it so that it is in and around that range, that we don't want to see something that is coming back with 5 Sol minimum liquidity start, which would be half of that 1750 there, which would be closer to only $900 would be the starting minimum liquidity. So in that instance, we have an idea of what a normal range is. And again, it's going to be in and around that 10. So we might want to set that close to that area. So we're not entering in coins where we know the developers put a very low amount of liquidity to start. And why would a developer do that? You know, do liquidity that was, you know, unusually small, closer to a 5 amount of Sol or a 3 amount of Sol liquidity. Well, in the instances that I have seen it, it's because they're very not serious about the project. A lot of times it's just a quick farm, it's a quick pump and dump, it's an in and out. So because most developers on Solana actually burn their liquidity, instead of burning, you know, $1,750, they can burn half of that amount and then not have so much of their money going into the project and being burnt. So that is a way that you can look at minimum liquidity. Does anybody have any questions about this? You can cut me off at any time so we make sure we have a full understanding, but if not, I'll just move on. All right. So as far as minimum market cap works, this is going to be a good one in instances where you guys want to skip out being in such small market cap coins that are, you know, super volatile. When I first brought up the update, there was a mention to, you know, this is exactly what I've been looking for, so I can avoid, you know, some of these smaller market cap plays. So I know some people are interested for that aspect of it. For me, myself personally, I am not so interested in the minimum market cap because there hasn't been too many instances where I have been placed into a market cap that was quite small and I ended up faring off like really badly in it, just because, even say I'm placed into a market cap and I get in at around 5K, and that's about as low as I get. I've got a little bit lower than that, 4K, maybe 3.5K. But, when it's so low there's a lot of chance for it to move up, and there's not so much chance for it to move down. But there is some people who would want to avoid maybe such low coins, and it just wasn't part of their practice or wasn't part of their strategy. So minimum market cap could work for them. Now, as far as maximum market cap, this is what I'm more interested in for sure for myself personally, because when I get into a trade with a lot of my traders start off at lower market caps. They're over under 100K when they enter them, or they're under 50K when they enter them, and they have lots of room to still do a lot of X's for me. But as you get closer to higher market cap coins, I had someone that I was following yesterday enter in a market cap coin that was about $2.3 million was their entry, and my entry was right in about that range too. And this guy had been more known for trading, again, in that 50K to 100K range, and having lots of room for X's. He had some 20X's, he had some 30X's, he had some 3X's, stuff like that, right? So lots of X's there. But with this particular coin, at 2.3 million market cap for an entry, there's not that much room for X's in comparison. Could it still do a 10X? Absolutely. Is there a possibility that it could do 100X? There's still that possibility. But am I betting on it the same way that I would if he entered into at 100 market cap or 50 market cap, that I'm going to be able to achieve a 10X or a 100X? Absolutely not. I just know at upper market caps that once you reach anything over even let's say 1 million market cap, well, to get to 2 million market cap, to get to 3 million market cap and onwards, it takes a lot more to move that. So that is something that excited me to see the update. I think I saw the update right before I entered this coin. I didn't set anything up because I was kind of thinking some strategies in terms of how I would utilize this update, and not really taking the time to implement something right away, but really just really thinking about how I'm going to make a strategy around it. And then he enters into this trade, with 5 souls, so it was quite big risk too. And then I ended up being quite a bit down on that trade. I mean, quickly I was down I went all the way down to 1.6 soul down on that trade. And, I could have sold it there, but, me being me, I wanted to at least see a break even before I took it out, because I trust my trader, even though he made a trade that I normally wouldn't have made myself. I wanted to see how it played out. So I ended up getting out of that trade with just a slight profit of 0.2. But again, I was watching it for over an hour, just glued to it too, because one, it had a larger investment than I'm used to. I had this guy on at full, and previously his biggest buys was 2 soul and 1 soul. So I'm yeah, I can put this guy on full, no problem. But then he went into a trade that I wouldn't have used for myself, and went in with such a high risk that I felt the need to have to watch it constantly, because if this thing started tanking, I didn't want to take a full 5 soul loss, or even close to a 5 soul loss. I had to make a strategy of, okay, if it goes to here, what am I really willing to lose getting out? But that's where I explained that story to really show you guys why a max market cap parameter here could be something that is serving for you guys to not enter coins where it's already pretty high and you just don't think the risk to reward is there and it's not really in your strategy. So instead of being like, oh, I hope my trader doesn't enter into a coin that's too high, we could be like, hey, my max market cap is 200K. This is what I feel comfortable with this gentleman. And again, you need to make these strategies based on your traders, how they traded before, because if he enters in 500K tokens often, but those 500K tokens are often doing close to a 10x or something like that, and he gets from 500K to 5 mil, then you know with that trader, okay, I don't want to enter with him maybe if he's going into something that is, 2 million and above, just like the experience that I had. But if he does go into something 500K, I know that that's a sweet spot for him, that he goes into a lot of tokens in and around that range. And I still might want to make a buy with him. So for this guy, I'm actually going to leave his max market cap off. But for all my other guys, I usually see them go in at between 20K to 100K. So I'm going to put max market cap for these guys at 150K because I don't see them trading coins often more than this. And if they get into a coin that's more than this, I don't really want to participate in that. So I gave you guys a couple examples of how I feel like this could be useful. I like Trojan for the reason that they're pretty innovative in terms of working through different things. And now this is something that pertains specifically to copy trading. And with this update, a lot of people are going to be able to make use of it. Like I said, I could have avoided that coin, avoided that hour for, I said I ended up in profits, but it was such little profits in terms of the size of that trade that I'd rather have not been in that trade and just had that hour to, end up spending some more time with family yesterday, working on the things that I wanted to do, so on and so forth. So as far as these updates go, do any of you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any things you want to add for instances that you may want to use this?
Yeah, it's funny that you told the story because I had this exactly same thing today, like 30 minutes ago. I ended a trade with a whale and he was like selling crazy. And yeah, I end up losing profit of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that we kind of just had to deal with before. If you enter a trade with your guy and they're playing differently than we're used to, this is another example where past performance doesn't equal future performance, because I never saw that guy trade more than 2 SOL. But yesterday, I see a trade go in for 5 SOL, and I'm like, oh, okay, like he must have a lot of confidence on this. And then seeing the market cap, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that he went bigger, but at the same time, like, I'm in this trade for 5 SOL and he entered in a dip. Obviously, the dip was at 2.3 million, so all-time high was like closer to 4.5 million. I don't know if it's getting back there. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of more variables when a market cap's so high, because it takes so much more to really push it than it does to push a coin from, let's say, 50K market cap to 500K market cap. That could be done easily within 20, 30 minutes, an hour. But to move something like this, you really need some either big names on board. They need to do big marketing strategies. They need to entice a lot of FOMO. So in the future, I think for majority of my traders, I'm just going to do a max market cap. I'll probably set it in and around like the million range, because anything lower than a million is still something that I'm good with, unless I find a trader who ends up generally trading in and around a million market cap and still getting good X's on it, getting 2, 3, 4 X's on it. So I know that he that's his strategy and it works out for him. And if he's consistent with it and it's something that's going to make me profits, we're going to have to adjust this for every trader, right? But I hope you guys can see at least how this could be useful. It's important to have as many tools in your tool bag as possible to make you as efficient as a copy trader as possible. And there's something I tend to say to people a lot in different groups that I'm in. And I always say that sometimes the best way to make money is not to lose money. And the reason I say that is because as we're going through and we make a copy trade and we make, $100 here, $200 there, we hit a really good one and we're making like near $1,000 on a copy trade. That's all good and that all goes to the positive balance. But if you're ever going and you're making, bad copy trades because you don't really have either rules in place or tools in place to help you make strategies, and you're just draining yourself and you're not even seeing that there's a copy trader that you have on that just keeps on draining you. And the last 4 or 5 trades, he's been draining you and you didn't take the time to look at run his wallet again through Zelfi Guru bot and notice that his statistics now are like lower than a 50% win rate. So in this instance, if we take his statistics to be true, that he's losing more than he's winning, but we haven't even noticed that change because we haven't seen that. So in that case, you're just losing so much money. And in order for you to be in profit again, if you've just been in an instance where there's someone draining you $100, $200 at a time, hitting rugs, stuff like that, or hitting a freeze where they can freeze your wallet, like Serge showed us in our yesterday's voice chat, you're just going to be climbing out from a hole, right? Because if you're now down $100 here, $200 here, $100 here, you're down like $500 and you have to climb out of that hole before you're even break even again and then get to making profits. But instead of, getting into that hole in the first place, and going back to my saying, sometimes the best way to make money is not to lose money is, well, is there other tools that we can introduce where we can help mitigate loss? So we're not even taking so many losses to begin with. And this right here is definitely a tool that if we work strategies around, if we use it effectively, this can be another tool in our tool belt that can help us mitigate loss. So going forward, all the profits that we have are more meaningful towards going towards our positive profit and loss, and not just climbing us out of a hole that we've dug ourselves.
I have another question. Do you always let the trader do what they do? Because sometimes, I feel like they are moving fast, and I'm gonna take the steering wheel. Because sometimes, just the situation I told you of, I can't.
No, go on. Did you have more to that question? Sorry.
Yeah, sometimes the trade they enter is mad and they are crazy selling and all of that, and I can't take it. So I just take the wheel and turn the sales off, copy sales, and take the wheel.
Yeah, it's appropriate. It's appropriate to do.
Yeah.
It's appropriate to do, and it also is. Maybe I should touch on this subject today, and I'm sure I've touched on it before. But the reason I'll touch on it today is because if something's important for me to talk about, even if I talked about it before, if I'm bringing it up again and again, it's because it's valuable, and because if you missed it the first time I said it or you didn't take it too seriously, maybe you should start taking it more seriously now. And so if you read some trading books on trading strategies, people who've either traded Forex, people who traded the stock market, are very successful traders in crypto, they all will tell you about their journey. The people who were consistent and just didn't get lucky, and these are usually the people who are writing books. They're not the people who just, got lucky, entered Doge or entered Shiba, really early and was able to hold it for the whole time and was really stoked about it and turn, $50 into $1 million plus. No, those are the people that got lucky. But what about the people who grinded up from, let's say they had a couple $100, they had $1,000 that they put into crypto, that they put into trading, and they made that $1,000 into $1 million. So what's a commonality that we'll find if we're reading books about traders? And I would implore you guys, as you guys are doing trading, copy trading is a form of trading. There's a reason why the people who have traded before and were good traders come into copy trading, and they are automatically better copy traders than other people who haven't traded before and are just starting off with copy trading. It's because it is a form of trading. But now, going back to what I was bringing up, what is a commonality that you're going to have between every successful trader who's ever traded anything and made money over a course of a long period of time, a short period of time, or whatever, but they made it, they built it up. It wasn't luck. It was based on their skill and their knowledge. But the one commonality we find between all this is that they had rules. And why is it so important to have rules? Well, because if you go into a trade, any trade, let's say you're doing a regular trade, but also let's say you're doing a copy trade, so a self trade or a copy trade, they apply the same thing. The reason it is so important to set rules is because if you do not set rules, you are leaving everything up to chance, right? If you are looking at charts and you see a chart that is built up now, and we can see that there is resistance areas and we can see that there's support zones and stuff, and you are like, the trade is going good and it's bouncing off of this support here, but I can see that this is the second or third time it tested this support, and I'm a little bit worried that if it goes below that this is just going to completely fall out. So a rule to yourself might be that I'm going to hold this off this support, and I'm going to hope for an uptrend to constantly come, and then it's going to be a more comfortable hold for me. But if it doesn't do that and it falls past this support for the third time, as soon as it's falls past that support, I'm taking whatever it is, the gain that I have or the loss that I have here, because it just does not look good in terms of what I've seen in the past, in terms of what I've studied in the past, so on and so forth. So that is one example of using a rule. But you have to have so many other rules, because I could honestly say to you guys, I come up, and I always speak to you guys that I work with a partner, but we come up with a new rule at least every week. We implement maybe one or two more rules. And the only time we really break these rules are when the rules weren't actually that good to begin with and the rules weren't serving us. But if we find that the rules do serve us, then we stick with them. Because if we are having a set of rules and we look at the end of the week and we're up X amount of dollars, we're up, a couple $1,000s, whatever it may be. And we're like, okay, how did we get here? Well, one, we made sure we had good copy traders. Two, we had a set of rules and we played within our set of rules. We didn't vary from our rules. When we did vary from our rules, we either saw that it didn't work out for us good, or we got lucky in our instance that we varied from that rule if it worked out for us. But for the general part, to be a trader who is very consistent, and it's hard to not be emotional in trading, because if you see a chat and it's all hyped up, you're going to be like, oh, this is going to move for sure. The community is so great. But then next thing you know, the dev's selling. But you might still have that feeling like, oh, it's still going to moon, that the community is so good. If they do a community takeover, it's still going to do good. So once the dev starts selling, logically you should be like, well, the dev's selling, the project's probably not going to go on. Community takeovers don't go well that often. I see the dev selling, I put it through a bot and I can see starting to sell. So before I get into a loss, I'm just going to sell now. And I'm not going to fall victim to my emotions, but I'm going to fall to my logic or my rules. Let's say my rule was that if the dev starts selling aggressively and I think he's going to be out and I don't think he has plans to push the project, that I'm going to continue. I'm going to be out myself at that point because I set that as one of my rules. So the reason I bring that up is because as you guys continue to copy trade or you guys continue to trade, you need to establish some rules for yourself of when it makes sense to do something or when it doesn't. And Lucius, as towards what you were saying, if you enter a trade and a whale gets you into a trade and it's not something that you wanted to be in, it really doesn't fit with your strategy and all these things. Like you're like, I just let my copy trader do its thing, even though I entered into something that I don't really want to be in. And in this instance, my rule is to take lead on that. Just like if I'm up big profits or like profits that are substantial, I know that my copy trader could go on and make more profits and I could just follow like their sells and stuff. But in a lot of instances, I say with this trade, based on the size that I went in and the risk, I've made already a lot of money. If I can sell right now, the remainder that I have left, it's going to be a really great trade for me. And I'm going to be happy with this trade. Logically, I have to close out that trade. So there was a trade yesterday, for example, I think my investment was 2.5 SOL. I already made 8 SOL from the trade based on his sells, but it was looking like it was peaking. Like I just had a feeling it was getting to the top. I didn't know the shelf life of it, and I had 6 SOL remaining. And I'm like, I'm just going to, I'd be happier to get out of this trade with this profit that I have here between like the 8 SOL that I already had and then the remaining 6 SOL that I had. So I just dumped it there. And then my buddy ended up staying in and it ended up tanking. Not right after mine, it was like ranging and it looked like it could go, but it ended up going down like substantially, where I would have made a lot less money if I didn't just say that, like, this is part of my rules. When I'm in a lot of profit and I'm already happy with that trade, I know my trader can go on to make more, but at the end of the day, my goal is to make money. I've made money here, so I'm going to take the money that I made and say this was a good trade. Even if it did 100x after that, I'd be a little bit upset, but at the same time, I made good money on that trade.
That's exactly the point. That's what got me wrecked earlier, because I was up in profits and I thought, okay, it looks like he know what he's doing. But in my mind, I didn't thought of the fact that he was a whale. Like, he would sell often than me. He would sell like repeatedly. And I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, and then I left the trade with small profits. And yeah, was not happy with it.
Yeah.
Profits, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, you're like, oh, if I just kind of listened to my intuition there, I would have just taken the profits while I was up and it would have been a good trade. I would have made a good amount. But it's really hard to listen to your intuition if you don't have rules in place. Like when you have rules in place and you know that like in instances when you're up a good amount and this is going to help your balance or this is going to help further your profits for the week or you're going to feel good about this trade, and you feel like closing out there because you look at the project and you don't really think like it has that long of a shelf life. It doesn't seem like anything that crazy. The community isn't that crazy. Whatever your reasons might be that way, that may affect you. But at the same time, I especially would suggest for people who are low in Sol, you don't have a big balance right now. Anytime you're in profits where it's really going to impact your Sol balance, that yes, it can continue to moon, but at the same time, you have a low Sol balance. You're in profits right now. I would take those profits and leave it for the next one that's, able to moon, because the more of these kind of rules and strategies that you put into place and you see them working out for you, like last week I've seen that particular rule that when I'm up in good profits and I just want to take them and get out of the trade because it was already a good trade. I've done that maybe 4 times this week and it worked out in my favor at least 3 out of those 4 times. So that's a good rule for me because I've seen it, pay off many times. So if your rules continue to effectively feed you in terms of profits, then you know that your rules are pretty good.
I have another question. If you left the trade already and the trader keeps selling, would it cut your gas fees? Or would it take gas fees from you?
It's funny you asked that question just now, because in every other instance, I would tell you no, that it doesn't. You don't have something to sell, just as if the buy doesn't go through for whatever reason, it doesn't take your buy fees. But my friend that I trade with yesterday said he's been seeing that when these traders are going off on Trojan, that it has been taking the sell fees even when we don't have the token left. Let's say for example, like yesterday, I sold the amount that I had left, and obviously my guy's continuing to sell, and I still am set up on copy trade because even when he continues to sell, I want to have him on for if he buys something else during this duration. But in normal instances, I would always say no. In this instance, I'm going to say that I need further clarification on how this is working now. If there was a change in Trojan to make it so that if they were selling, it was using gas fees, or if I just wasn't noticing it before. But I definitely feel like I would have noticed it before. My gas was pretty high, using $5 at a time. Sometimes my traders would sell 10 times when I was already out of it. So I would have seen my account go down $50. I think I would have noticed that balance change. So I'm going to have to get back to you with a definite on that. Before I had a definite, no, it won't use your gas. But now I have my friend saying that it might. We're already talking to Trojan support to try to figure out the definite answer on that.
Yeah, because that's exactly what happened to me after I left the trade. He kept selling, and I looked at my profit, and it was going down. And first I thought, okay, all right, Sol is going down too. Maybe Sol, it will come up later. But I saw it go down, 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 and then I recognized, okay, maybe it's him. And then I turned off the copy, and then it stopped. But he already took like, I don't know, $20.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying because if this is the case, and I'm hearing it from my friend now, and now I'm hearing it from you as well. So now I have 2 people who kind of confirmed the same thing. It's really just frustrating for me as a copy trader, where it's like, how do I put this? I don't want to have to toggle on and toggle off my traders based on that I'm out of tokens because I either sold or he just bought more than me and I'm already out, or whatever the reason may be, where there's still sells going on. I don't want to have to turn him off and then have to look at his balance. Now go to SolScan and see, oh, is he out of this token? Because when he's out of the token, then I could put him on. Or, you know what I mean? It's just annoying to have to toggle them off because, like, what if I don't put them on in time and then they hit a really good trade.
You on that, but that's exactly what I was doing. I was tracking him like, okay, is he done selling? Like every 5 minutes, like an idiot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to continue to follow up with Trojan because I don't think it was something that was happening before. It might have been an update that they pushed, and it might be an accidental update that is causing this because it doesn't really make sense for their part. Like they have no benefit in that at all because gas fees they don't make any money on. So yeah, it just doesn't really make too much sense for them to start adding gas fees on sells where you're not actually selling because again they're not making money on that. They only make money on trading volume.
So, but still, I lost $20.
I know, man. I know. I hear you loud and clear. So let me say, like again, I felt like I had a definite answer on this before, but just over the last day, it was yesterday, where this is the first time I've ever heard this come up that gas fees for cells are still going to be costing us. And I have already got, well, my partner took the initiative. He reached out first. Um, he reached out first, so he's already talking to some of the people at Trojan to see why this is happening.
Maybe you can keep us posted what comes out of it.
Of course, I'll keep you guys posted. I keep you guys posted to like everything that I learn,
All right.
so you don't have to worry about that.
I got a question about the new options on Trojan.
Yeah, man.
So for the example, you put 1 million max market cap. Like, does it count for buys and sells? Because what if you buy at 900K and then it goes up? Does it not sell if it goes over 1 million market cap then, or how does that work exactly?
So, as far as I know, and we'll have further discussion on these once they're a little bit more developed, once we've been able to test them out and stuff, to see how that works. But as far as I know, it's based on just your entry because this is for copy traders, right? So like
Okay.
at time of entry, what is it at? If it doesn't fall into that parameter at time of copy, then it won't if it doesn't fall into that parameter then it won't copy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at the entry, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, at the entry at that given time of entry, but if it does fall into the parameters that you have set, then it will copy.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. All right. Did anybody have any further questions about this, strategies, rules, anything that we're talking about that surrounds this ideal here?
Yeah, me. You said an example for the minimum market. What was that?
For the minimum liquidity, you mean?
Yeah,
Or
sorry. No,
yeah,
liquidity. Yeah.
so minimum liquidity, I kind of just gave you an idea of how minimum liquidity would work, and the idea that I gave you is a SOL is currently $175 right now. If they put in 10 SOL liquidity, it would work out to be 1750. So this is going to be like the initial starting liquidity. So that kind of gives you a basis of if you're trying to trade tokens that only have a minimum of like 10 SOL, 8 SOL. You got an idea to how to gauge that at. But again, the minimum liquidity is going to be at the time of your copy traders buying. So when your copy trader buys, and it could be at 30K market cap, it could be 5K market cap, it could be anywhere, in between closer to an initial buy or a little bit later on to buy, your liquidity is going to move with this, right? So if we take a look at a coin that was 30K market cap, it's not going to have that same liquidity that I mentioned, because I'm mentioning a starting liquidity base point. But as we get used to a coin that starts with, let's say 10 SOL liquidity, and now they've moved up in market cap to 30K, well, we can look at, okay, we know this coin started at 10 SOL liquidity, and it moved up to now 30K. And what is the liquidity now? So we know at 30K, the minimum liquidity is going to look like X, and then we can start adjusting our minimum liquidity from there. But the example I gave you was really just a basis to kind of get an idea of like what the minimum liquidity would look like if a coin was just starting, for example.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think as we go through again with our strategies and things that we put into place, we oftentimes, test out stuff that makes sense to us and we think it's a good strategy, and we can quickly figure out based on how it's working for us within, so many trades, if it was a good strategy or if it's not. And it's the same with, this here, the minimum liquidity, minimum market cap, and the maximum market cap. These are all things that will help you add to your strategy and to make things work better in your situation, where you don't have to monitor things quite as much, because it's not going to enter super high market caps because you set that. It's not going to enter super low market caps because you set that. You're not going to enter scams that are starting out with super low liquidity because you set that. So eventually, I think you start using these and playing around with them and put things that make sense to you. And as you start doing that, you'll learn how to adjust them some more. We can have more conversations over this, because this just came out yesterday, right? I don't think any of us have taken the chance to use this yet. But as more days roll out and we have more instances where people will say, hey, you know what? Thanks for showing us that, or, thanks for going over that. I did use it, and this is how it benefited me. We can have productive conversation over how that worked out for that individual, and we can see how we can continue to apply it for ourselves to make ourselves better copy traders. Because again, as more and more updates come, not only from Trojan, but there's tons and tons of updates coming from Zelfi, we have to make sure that once updates come and we have a new tool that we could possibly use, we at least take the time to get to know it, kind of see how it may be useful for us, and see how we could implement it. Okay, so I think, go ahead.
Just say good idea.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, if we were building a house, we would want to make sure we had the tools to build a house and do it as efficiently as possible. If we had a chop saw to cut wood, well, we know we can get through a piece of 2x4 in a second or so. But if we only have a hand saw to cut wood, it's going to take us about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to go through each 2x4. So it's going to take us longer to build the house because we just didn't have the right tools. So if we're talking about building a house here, let's say our building a house goal was to make 100K this year through copy trading. Let's say that was our goal. So that would be our constructed house. Now, if we want to get to 100K, we could get to 100K maybe in 3 months. We could get to 100K possibly in 1 month. We can get to 100K in maybe 3 years. But it really is going to be depending on how efficient we start to become based on our knowledge that we acquire, based on our tools that we're using. and based off some of the strategies that we're putting into place, right? Say there's a guy who, does custom homes, and he builds his first custom home. It may take him 3 years. By the time he's on to building his 10th custom home, and in our case, we're talking about $100,000. So the first $100,000, man, it took him 3 years. But by the time he's built his 10th custom home, so that's $1 million. So if he's built 10 at $100,000, and we're using that analogy, by the time he's built his 10th one, it may only take him 8 months. It may only take him 6 months to build that same custom home that he built originally. That had took him 3 years, right? Because his strategies got better. He got better tools. He got better knowledge of how to do things. So he could come out with the same quality of custom home in a lot shorter of time. And we should be able to come out with a lot more money on our copy trade strategies in a shorter time if we get to use our tools and resources properly. Okay, so let me go through profitable wallets. The reason I said from voice chats prior that we would be going through profitable wallets every day is because, again, it is going to kind of be the instance of you being able to recognize wallets very quickly, being able to see what you're looking at, being able to see if it's worth your time, and being able to get through them quicker. So it doesn't matter if we're looking at a wallet that is here in profitable wallets, or we look at a wallet that we found from Dex Screener, or a friend sent us it, or we stumbled across it somehow and we ran it through Zelphi. We're still looking at the same information. So again, we want to be able to quickly go through, check out what is going on with whatever wallet we're looking at in this instance, and make a decision, right? But let's talk about some of these strategies too that we may have put in place while we look for these wallets. I know a lot of people right away will skip scalpers, and there's a lot of instances where it does make sense because the scalper wallet won't even be able to be copyable. If you guys came to some of these voice chats or had at least listened over them, you would see that we went over some of the trades in some scalper wallets. Even though it would say they had a longer holding time, we would see that on a lot of trades they were in and out within seconds, and that's just something that we cannot keep up with on these trading bots that we have. So even with Trojan yesterday, I had a guy that I was following. He bought 4 times within I want to say within like 10 or 20 seconds. Like he spammed 4 buys. My friend caught one of the buys and it was at 0.5, and he caught that buy. I caught a different buy he did, and it was at like 0.2. But either way, we were both only able to keep up with one of those buys throughout that series of buys that had taken place so quickly over that time. So that's another thing that you may want to look out for as you're going out for these wallets, that you don't have a guy that is spam buying within seconds. This guy usually doesn't do that, so I'm not so worried about that one instance. But back to speaking about strategies, scalpers, I do have people who have them in. I have had scalpers in as well, and there are some scalpers that you can trade. Whereas we have snipers, and snipers, again, we can't trade at all, but some people do use them for a strategy of monitoring them and seeing when they could get entries to them, right? But if we are just trying to skip through things like this, scalpers and snipers, because we don't really want to spend too much time analyzing a scalper to see if it's right for us right now, and a sniper. Then we could do the function that I did yesterday where we're looking at just alpha wallets. And if you guys weren't here yesterday, I will just remind you that to look at any of these types of wallets, that all you do is press the search here, and then you're going to just press hashtag, and then you do alpha, for example. It's going to give me a big drop down. If you're on the computer, you're going to get it the same way, which is quite nice. And you can see as you go down, sometimes you can start seeing these alpha wallets that have a little bit more data, right? So like I just clicked into this one because I can see that it's lighting up a little bit more through the 30 days. I can see quite a bit of activity here. But now I'm seeing unique tokens 3 here. So we can look at here, seeing that on these tokens, he did pretty well, leaving him with the win rate that he has. There was obviously a flag we can see there, which works out to be quite a decent percentage, 33%, but it's just because our data set is still quite small, even though it looked larger because we have many trading days here. But why does that work out to be the case? It is, well, because, you know, we can see he hit 2 mooners. So we're seeing that based off of this, we know he's taking profits as he goes with these trades. So in this day, he'll take some profits. In this day, he'll take some profits. So he's scaling out of these trades over days, trying to hold them, seeing if they're going to go up more, and taking profits as he goes. So although there was only 3 unique tokens, we find quite a bit of active days of, you know, just pretty much all green in terms of the trading here. And it makes sense again if we go further to look at the data where there's 6 buys. So again, we can see if there's 6 buys and there's 3 unique tokens. Well, he bought it on average twice per token, but then we can see there's 44 sells. And we know those sells aren't just happening on one day, because we'd see maybe 3 days that had activity if he was just selling off those 3 tokens in one day. But we can see he's scattering them throughout here. And what's the average time here? 14 hours, 39 minutes, and 47 seconds between buys and sells here. Average buy amount, 2 sold. So let's look at the wallets, at the individual trades for this trader anyways, to see what's up with them. All right, I'm sharing you my screen now for. I'm sharing you my screen now for. Yeah.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go for it, man.
2 things. First thing, I don't know if it's for everyone, but still the screen quality is very bad for me sometimes. Maybe I have some issues here, or it's the Telegram problem. I don't know. With my phone, when I'm in the call, it's very good, the quality, but on the PC, it's very hard to read sometimes because the quality is so bad in Telegram.
If it's a case of your phone being very good and your PC being very bad, then it's likely a problem with you. But let's confirm that. Lucius, I know you were speaking before, so I know you're not too shy to speak. Are you able to see everything clearly?
Yeah, and I know exactly what the problem is. I will try to tell him in German, if you don't mind. Das Problem ist, wenn du es auf dem Handy anguckst, dann ist alles klein, ne? Du kannst nicht die Zahlen und alles lesen.
Ja.
Ja, genau, du musst es auf dem PC machen, weil ich muss das auch machen. Du kannst es nicht mal als kleinen Bildschirm nutzen, sondern ich muss es wirklich, ich habe 2 Bildschirme und auf einem musst du es komplett groß machen. Und dann funktioniert es.
Nicht vergrößern, sondern an sich den Bildschirm
Genau,
vergrößern.
du musst das ganze Dings benutzen.
Okay, thanks. So we solved the problem. Thank you.
Right.
So, and the other thing is for like the analyzing for the wallets, do you any guys of you use the like XLXLS formats for like looking for the wallets, or do you only use like what the bot gives you? You know what I mean? Like
So you mean the sheet that
yeah.
combining them versus using the
Yeah.
bot with the visual representation?
Yeah, I find out it's getting more like faster to getting the results or to see the results I want to see, or what kind of strategy do you use? Do you use this compact formats, the cheats?
Well, here's an interesting take, I would say. Are you used to looking at spreadsheets from either data research you've done before or in your workplace that you looked at spreadsheets?
No, I'm not into it, but I can learn it very well with some videos, but I'm not used to do it, you know.
Okay. I wanted to ask that because my theory was that a lot of the people who do utilize the spreadsheets are people who have at least some common knowledge with using spreadsheets. And it's really not really common knowledge because spreadsheets are simple to use. They're done in columns. It makes sense, right? Like, but for someone like me, I've never really messed around with spreadsheets since early college, and that was a while for me now, aging myself here. But if I look at a spreadsheet with so much numbers going on and everything, I have a very hard time making sense out of anything because there's just so much, and I'll be looking at one line and trying to get the information from one specific line, but my eyes will drop to the other line. So I'm pulling information now from 2 different lines, and I'm trying to match up what happened in the far right with the far left, and it's just a nightmare for me.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it might be my style of learning and everything too. I have ADHD, and that might be something that goes into play with me just having a really hard time with the spreadsheets. But I know I'm not the only one, because I know there's a bunch of people who don't use the spreadsheets and like prefer to have the visual representation that spits out from the Zelfi Guru bot or that we see in the profitable wallets if we just skip them. But if you don't have a problem looking at spreadsheets and like you find it quicker for you to get the information and stuff, I would definitely recommend that. Yeah. But at the same time, if you find a wallet that's good on the spreadsheet and it looks really good, I still would then take that wallet and I would run it through the bot or find it through the profitable wallets to get the visual representation, because it's just placed so nicely and condensed, and like the different areas that you look at when you see this visual representation are all kind of matching with each other. So you might be like able to spot something easier that you didn't on the spreadsheet. So if you are using the spreadsheets before like just implementing a wallet and being like, yeah, this is good, I still would get the visual representation, not only because it might help you spot something that you missed, but because that visual representation also gives you the last trades that you should be looking into finally before copying that wallet anyways.
Okay, I get you. So it's like a personal thing, but afterwards when you find it on the cheat, you should be looking up it manually again. But the other thing my idea was with the cheats, like you could maybe run it through like Bing, that uses ChatGPT 4 for free, and then you can give Bing or ChatGPT like parameters to have to check on the sheet, and then you say like, yeah, the ROI should be this high and the win rate this high. And I didn't try it yet, but maybe it works. So you have like a more faster way to go through so many wallets, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I mean, if you're able to implement that, if anyone implements something like that, it would be interesting to hear how you did it, what you're using to do it, because like I said, just because I don't use the spreadsheet myself, that's a personal thing. Tons of people do use this spreadsheet. I had people coming into even the first voice chat when they were talking about how great the spreadsheets are and how useful they are for them. So, there's so many of you guys who are making use out of those spreadsheets too. So like I said, collaboration is king here. I couldn't imagine actually just copy trading by myself and not having anyone to talk to about and collaborate and say, what are your strategies, and here's my strategies. How do they sound to you? Do you think they sound good? Do you think I'm making the most out of my stuff? So I just want to constantly encourage you guys to strategize with each other, regardless if that's in the flood room.
Yeah,
you
we
guys
all
are
get a profit from each other's ideas. That's a good way you tell it, yeah.
I mean, at this point, some of you guys are even like talking to each other within the voice calls. So I know you guys have some type of relationship with each other. I really do recommend, we're all Zelphi Guru users and we're all trying to make the most out of it, but it really is so much easier if you have someone who is on your team. You're either sharing wallets with them, you're sharing information with them, you're going through things with them, because it leaves less room for second guessing yourself. It leaves less room for error. It leaves less room for emotional trading and so on and so forth. So I'm going to encourage to talk to you guys about collaborating and, trying to find people within this community to work with, because I only think it's going to totally further your experience as a copy trader.
Yeah. The lone wolf is the wrong idea in this game.
In crypto in general, the lone wolf sucks.
I just wanted to add some tips about the question with the spreadsheets and the idea of pushing some data to ChatGPT. In overall, it will be not a good idea. Why? Because ChatGPT is not a copy trader himself in DeFi network, and that's why he may understand he can in general understand the words like win rate, ROI, some other flags and so on, but he will take his data of knowledge mostly from the internet, from open sources, and the information there will be like the bigger ROI, the better, the bigger win rate, the better. But it's not always about it's not. It rarely suits the situation for copy trading. It's the first thing which I wanted to say. The next thing is some tips on how to use the spreadsheet and when you need to do this. For example, I am myself using spreadsheets very rare. Why I'm doing this? Because when you are going over the profitable wallets in the thread, you need to understand about each wallet. What does this wallet really do? And for the first time when you're doing this can take you a lot of time, but it's like a good exercise to make your knowledge and to level up your skills on analyzing wallets. Take your time, check each wallet, watch their deals, watch their stats, and make like some notes of what is interesting, what can be interesting, and so on. And in the end of the day, you should make like some picture of a good wallet, or maybe a good strategy which you can handle or take on your way. And in this situation, when you have like trained some time at watching the wallets, you have written down your ideas of how you can use each different wallet, which wallets are not really like supposed to be copied, or doesn't matter to manual trade them. When you wrote it down, all these things, and then you can, like come to the computer. That's what I'm doing like every day. I have some strategies. For example, I have strategy for alpha wallets, and that's why when I'm like opening the spreadsheet, I'm looking the first thing which I'm placing just alpha hashtag. So there was it's the first thing. The next thing, I'm going to flex and setting them to 0. And after that, I'm watching already at other parameters, and taking some wallets to be checking with the bot. And I have like 5-6 wallets every day by this strategy, just to go through them and watch how did they perform, not going over like 300 wallets every day. Another strategy is like I love to watch fresh wallets. I don't know why people really don't like this type of wallets. I'm 2 years already telling everyone that this is the gold mine, and no one like trusting me. So the next thing which I'm doing, one of the strategies that I have, I'm just pushing the fresh hashtag, or I can just use the filter of unique amount of unique tokens traded by the trader, and it can differ from 1 or 2 or 3 amount of tokens traded. And after this, I'm watching how their other stats performed. And as well to that, I usually just place some average buy sum over 0.5 Solana. So that wasn't like some dumbass who just ran up with one deal, or he just like opened the wallet, placed $5, went some coin, and he was lucky and got some rocket. I don't like these wallets, but the guys which are like pushing good money in each trade, and he have like the wallet is fresh, and he opened a trade, for example, for Solana. That's just his one trade, and he made profit on this. In my opinion, this is the trader who just changed his wallet and traded new trades. And I like to watch such kind of wallets, to look them, to watch their trades, and soon we will. I think you saw I added already thread in our private room. It's called Smart Money Trades. There will be like we will be taking such kind of wallets, and when they will be trading, we will have like notification that some wallets bought this coin, and you can like spend less time watching all the wallets, and this can be like a trade monitor to analyze and make a decision to enter coin or not. So that's some tips of my way, how I'm using the spreadsheets. You can take a note on it, or you can just do some other stuff with the spreadsheets. But blindly going to the spreadsheet and placing some filters is not a smart idea, because you need to go filtering some bulk information only in the situation when you understand what you are looking for. or who are you looking for, or what kind of trader should that be? In all other situations, your games with spreadsheets is just a game.
Yeah, okay, I get your point that someone who is new should be focusing on the own abilities first, and then have to look for parameters to have for having for the cheats. I got this point, and the other point with the new wallets that you recommend is also very good. Or me personally, or the most people maybe think like the data is so low that's not checkable, or it's not you shouldn't be taking effort to check it because not so much data. But the point that could be a new wallet from a bigger or more bigger trader, that's a good point. I will check that wallets more. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Yeah, so as to that point, in terms of the fresh wallets, I totally agree with what Serge is saying, because a fresh wallet, we know that one, it's recently funded, and then two, if we see it in the profitable wallets, that there's a reason it's in the profitable wallets, because it's already faring out well with its first couple of trades. Now, like you said, we do have a lower data set on them, so a lot of people may just think, this isn't something worth my time because I can't see all the data. But just because you can't see all of the data right now doesn't mean that more data won't continue to unfold within just days' time. So when Serge was saying that he was looking at the fresh wallets and finding them very valuable, it wasn't just because he was looking at the fresh wallet, saw a good trade, and then he's like, yep, I'm going to start following this guy right away. It was because that he knew there was usefulness in tracking this wallet to see if it continued to fare off well, if its win rate continued to be consistent, if it continued to hit, consistent mooners, or continue to be in consistent profit. So one thing we did go through quite a bit now is the alpha wallets. We started looking at some of those yesterday. We're looking at one right now. And we found that when we went through these alpha wallets yesterday, a lot of these alpha wallets are double paired. And they're either double paired with fresh, which we see most of the time, which are the wallets we were just talking about in the instance which Serge brought up, or they're paired with something like usually snipers, the second one that we'll see. So I do think going through the fresh wallets is something that can be very valuable, especially if you guys have a plan to start tracking wallets and to see how they do. And there's a bunch of ways to do that. And we can talk about more tools that you guys can use to, start tracking some of these wallets that you find that are fresh, or alpha wallets that look interesting, but just don't have some more data set. I think that would be a good point for us to cover in a future voice chat. I think even for tomorrow's voice chat, it would be interesting if we went through kind of some of those tools and also went through some of these fresh wallets, because it's not that we went through all the alpha wallets. Of course, there's so many more. Even this one we're looking at now is different from ones that we've looked at in the past, but getting a new perspective on what these other wallet tags could possibly hold for us and the potential that we could use them is going to be very good as well. So when Serge was talking about, you never know if this fresh wallet was a wallet that was heavily used before and was doing very good. So like I said, there's instances, and you guys should have these instances coming up if you've been copy trading for a bit, where you have a really good wallet and it's hitting for you pretty consistently. But one day you find like, man, that wallet didn't trade all day, or it's been 2 days and you find that wallet hasn't traded all day, and you go look at the balance and the balance is depleted and it's been sent to a centralized exchange has been sent to a different wallet, and now you can no longer follow that wallet. Well, do we assume that a wallet that was that profitable stopped trading and just decided, hey, you know what, like, I've been making so much money with crypto, and I'm tired of making so much money. I don't want to make money anymore, and I'm going to stop trading? Or is it more likely that that wallet understood that they were likely being tailed? There was, a few people copy trading them. They might have noticed that, and now they moved on to a different wallet. If they move on to a different wallet, it's going to be a fresh wallet. So we may find a lot of these guys who were hitting very consistently ended up being tailed by a lot of people over time. Use a wallet for a week or two, maybe even 3 weeks, but then be like, you know what, I'm being tailed too much. It's kind of affecting my trades. I'm going to start over with a fresh wallet. So let's see, coming up into our future voice chats, as we start analyzing those particular wallets, what information we can get from them and how we can utilize those. If anyone has anything to say upon that, you can, but if not, I'm just going to go through the wallet that we had pulled up here, because again, the repetition from looking at these wallets, pulling up the data, pulling up their buys and sells is really going to help you guys learn how to do this quickly and effectively yourself when it comes to finding a wallet that might be potentially good for you. All right, so this was the gentleman who had 3 different trades, remember, 3 unique tokens, I should say, but had quite a lot of activity during his 30-week, which we were able to see there. Lots of profitable days that he had. And I was saying that the assumption from the data looking here, this person is going to be selling over quite a bit of days. But this seems like this was the lower gainer out of the tokens that he had. But let's still take the time to look at it since we have it up here. And we can see he started off with one only single initial buy at 2 SOL. And we can see that based on the chart, it was actually better on the 5-minute. Let me take it back to the 5-minute. But yeah, we can open up the chart to see how it started off. So, there was already a large spike before this thing ran up, died off, really bottomed out here. But let's move back into where we were with the 5-minute here. So we can see that it was bottoming out, right? Not many people were buying it. They were thinking it was dead, selling off. But he starts buying it as soon as it starts ramping up a little bit here. So we can see he got a good buy fired off here at 1.3. So quite low. And we see that he had made 2 sells that happened, pretty close to when he had bought. It looks like an hour later. So the first one wasn't even an hour later. It was about 22 minutes later. And then the other one wasn't far away from that either. So that's representative of these 2 buys. But you see, or 2 sells. But you see that his first sell, he's already regained his profit, and then he's up. And then he makes that next sale again on that good peak. And then he's seeing what's going to happen with the coin, because we see he's holding it for quite a bit, seeing if it might peak more, what's going on with it. But he can see that, it looks like it's starting to fall off. So he decides to close his position and takes out his profits. So analyzing this trade, we can see that, well, with the activity that was going on at the time, he had a really good entry. We had time to get in there. We had time to sell. Even when he made his last sells, even though they weren't the best sells that he could have possibly made, those sells were still well into profit that he made there. And overall, this guy ended up making a 3x trade plus on this specific token. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other ones he has going on here. Just bear with me. All right. So his one trade fell into that range, and that was the one that we were looking at. So the other two trades, if you could remember, those were trades that we consider, mooners, the ones with the rocket that had done 5 or more. So D-Lord, we're going to be pulling up next. All right, first I want to get it to where we can actually see a visual representation of some selling and buying going on. Might have to put it on a longer frame here. All right, so we can see this gentleman had been buying the token from pretty much the beginning. And all right, let's look into it here. And I said there was instances where we see the visual representation. It looked like there was a lot of data, but I said he must be selling sometimes into days. And we can see that's true because 28 days ago was his initial buy, and then he sells for, a sole profit. It looks like he sells, and he doesn't even sell his whole position, right? He just he's taking some off, and he's already up at a sole profit, and he's holding still near 700k plus tokens. So looking into it going further, so within the same day, he's buying more. He's starting to buy the dips and starting to dollar cost average here, getting more of a position with a 1 SOL, 5 SOL. But then we see a whole lot of selling going on, mostly through these points. There's a sell here, but mostly through these points. So then we are looking at, it was 28 days ago when we were starting to get to these sells. This is 25 days ago, for this next sell he has going on. And then 17 days ago. All right, a couple of sells within that 17 days. And then we have 16 days, 15 days, 14 days. But we're obviously able to see this guy's in a lot of profit. We know that he did 5x or more on this token. We can just see a wave of quite substantial sells that we can obviously see are overweighing the buys that he did, right? In total, the buys that he did, we got 11 here, 11.1 buys. But so this is a good indication because we could see based on the data, I was telling you that, he's got a lot of activity on the chart. So I thought we would have a good data set. And we do have a little bit more data because he is selling into these days, but we still don't have more data in terms of coins. We're still working with a very low amount of unique tokens. But now we can at least see how it was expressed on the visual representation we have on the bubbles when it looks like, hey, there's a lot of green days that he had going on. Yeah, there's a lot of green days going on because he was buying a token and he was selling it into pretty much every following day. He was taking profits. As you can see, as this started coming down, he was selling into that and kind of scaling that out, making that the profits light up in the scanner there. Okay, so there's one more trade to look at, and again, half the reason we go through these trades aren't just to see what happened, but it's really to analyze what we're seeing on Zelfi, Guru, and what we're seeing on those profitable vault wallets versus what we're actually seeing happening into the trade, okay? All right, so this is his final trade that we had because you remember we had 3 unique tokens in the data set to see. So let's open it up so we can see again what's happening with these buys and sells here. So again, you can always look at the time of the buy. It's also nice to look at the price of the buy. You can see kind of where the price buys in based on here, because it will show you like where he bought here. It will show you the bubble, but looking at the price will give you an indication where it actually fell on that candle that he bought it on. All right, so we can see in total he's bought 4.1 SOL. Let's just call it 4 SOL just to make the numbers easier, but we can see he bought 4.1. So he bought one at 4:10 p.m. and then his next one was at the same time within that same minute, and then he bought again 3 days later, and he just bought 0.1. And I mean, I'm not really gonna. This buy is just interesting. I mean, it's just a weird buy to place like a 0.1 buy at this point, because now we're moving into the 0.002 range. Yeah, and he was able to get a sell-off still a little bit higher. So I mean, that buy wasn't terribly bad. It just wasn't like his first buys. I would have personally, if I was that trader, I would have just left that buy out. I already got 2 buys in at a very good entry, but whatever. So as we look through his sells here, I'm expecting to see something similar to what we saw in that last trade, which was D-Lord there, which he was scaling out, but it looks like he is scaling out this one over a shorter time frame, and that D-Lord trade was really what was making that the chart, the visual representation of like the green to red in the Zelphi profitable wallets look how it was. But we can see he started trading April 9th, and then his first sell was the 23rd. So he held for quite a good time until he put off his first sell. Again, why would this ever be important to us? Well, if we're looking to make money, we have a little bit of a SOL balance, and we're looking to scale that up so we can start making more money once we have a little bit of a balance. A trader who is holding from April 9th and starts your buy, even though he might end up doing a decent sell for you, it may not be something that you want to entertain in terms of a timeline, because it's over 10 days. You're looking at close to 14 days here. But anyways, we know that he only bought 4.1 SOL there, and his first sell was 6.5. So and it ended up paying off for him, even though we waited all these days. 4.5 there, right there. He's up to over 11. And then 3.5, 2, 3, 3.7, 2.3, 1.5, 2.5. And finally, he exits with, his full position and sells for it. And this is all over the course of a couple of days. That he's getting out here. Actually, 27th to the 21st, that's over the course of almost a week that he fully scaled out here. So that is another thing to take into account, because although we might look at this guy and be like, man, he's a pretty good trader, because based on the trades that we looked at, he is a fairly good trader. That buy is weird, for sure. I mean, that buy really throws off everything else that he was doing, but I mean, he was profitable doing so nonetheless. So let me go back now. We've analyzed this guy's trade. Let me go back now to the Telegram here. And I got him up right. I'll full screen it so it's bigger for you guys. Hopefully we didn't lose him. No, he's right here. All right, what are some takeaways that we can say we have learned in terms of this trader here and what this wallet information tells us, how it was reflective of the chart. Is there anything that we had learned from analyzing a wallet like this?
Yeah, like for example, that the buy-ins are like on a good position, so that we can be sure that it's not like a bad wallet for short-term buys. That what would I think for that token?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you in terms of that point, that if you are having a long-term strategy, well, we can look at here and then see kind of what would that average time between buy and sell. And it doesn't always seem to be super reflective, even though it is, but you know, it's an average time. In this case, it does seem to be pretty reflective because we saw that in his first token, like he was selling out of that pretty quick. But then we saw like within the ones that really moved for him, the ones that did over 5x, that he was exiting out of or holding on to for a very long time before starting to scale out. So if that was something that was in your type of strategy or something that you wanted to put into your strategy, be like, you know what, I have a lot of traders who are in and out within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and who are looking for quick profits and stuff. I have a lot of those traders who sell, you know, a lot of times before it moons too, because they're just looking for quick profits. But maybe I want to add some traders who do have larger times between buys and sells that are going to add a bit of a different dynamic to your thing. We could see we have a little bit of a limited data set here just by the amount of unique tokens. But we can also see that with the data set that we did have, he was fairly consistent with it. And again, if that was an approach that you wanted to bring into kind of the roster of traders that you have to kind of switch it up, this guy might be someone who's fairly decent. Now, even looking at the average buy sum here, we could say, well, the average buy sum is, you know, decently high. It's at 2.7. It's nothing crazy. It falls into a range that a lot of us would trade. But we also know that with this guy's exits too, by analyzing his trades, we know that he generally stays into his trades for a while, and when he does get out of his trades, he really DCAs out of them, and he's not taking huge price impacts. He's not dropping lots of SOL at one time to really affect your chart and your entries. So I think that's another takeaway we could get from this type of trader as well. All right, now let's see. Okay, so as far as tomorrow goes, we're going to spend more time obviously in these wallets, because I really want at the end of the day to have complete efficiency when it comes to looking at these wallets and being able to go to their tokens, to be able to the tokens that they bought, to be able to analyze those and to be able to make decisions. And the way that that happens is by looking at enough wallets. And we might think, some may think we've taken the time to look over a lot of wallets. I think in total, we haven't really looked over maybe 15 wallets in total. That's really not a lot of wallets. It's like, I don't know what sports you guys played, but I do like to use analogies, and I was a skateboarder myself. I didn't always have access to be able to go play soccer or go play organized sports. So I just took out my skateboard and went and practiced myself. But I know that as I was learning how to do things at the beginning, it was really hard. But as far as doing a simple trick like a kickflip, or even to do like an ollie, if you know anything about skateboarding, that it just comes down to repetition of practicing those motions, just like riding a bike for a first time. You're wobbly, you can't really seem to get the pedals going consistently, and you're going for a bit, but then it seems like you're kind of losing your mojo. But you hop on a bike now, even if you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, and you're able to pick it up and ride it like it's easy, and like you never stop doing it. And it's going to come to that same consistency with these wallets. And when I was practicing doing those kickflips and ollies, there's no time I ever practiced a trick only 15 times. So we've looked at 15 wallets now. Every trick that I had learned, I practiced, 100 plus times, usually 1,000 plus times for every individual trick till I learned how to do that trick. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Anytime I need to come back to this trick, I know exactly how to do it because I've done it so many times. And it's going to get to the point with us with these wallets. The wallets are just going to continue to improve, and we're going to be able to find better wallets. We're going to be able to find new strategies, just like we did today with Trojan. They came out with a new strategy. We thought about, okay, how could we implement it now? If we look at the wallets, can we find a strategy that will fit with this? So the more we take time to look through all these different wallets, between the alphas, the scalpers, the fresh, looking at the snipers, and really being able to quickly pick up and identify and look through them and see what's worth adding, the quicker you guys are going to be profitable traders, right? Because you don't want to spend 4 days to find a good wallet. You want to ideally be able to spend 2 or 3 hours like really grinding through these resources that we've gone through, and find a couple good wallets and have those wallets start making you money right away. While those wallets are making you money, it's not time to rest, because those wallets could switch up on you any minute. They could start trading poorly and you have to, remove them. Or they could just, transfer their soul balance out, and we're left with less wallets than we had, and we lost a profitable trader. So while we have profitable wallets in, that isn't time for us to take a break. That's like, good, okay, we're off to a good start, but like, let's add to them. Let's get some more profitable people in. And by going through these wallets and by coming up with strategies, collaborating with each other, that's how we're going to be able to continue to do so. So if you guys are interested and excited to go through some of these fresh wallets and to make see how we can make use out of those, then make sure you're at tomorrow's voice call, where we're going to be going over that. We'll be chopping it up like always, talking about some strategies, talking about some of the things I might have learned through the day, and just going over whatever I feel like is important for you guys to hear. But before I close this up, I'm going to ask, is there any questions we wanted to close up before you guys hear from me again tomorrow?
Ja, mach du erstmal, alles gut.
Ja, okay, danke dir.
What's that, sorry?
I left in the front, but okay. I wanted to ask, I keep following this whale and I just missed an entry. I guess it's because of slippage, but I have my slippage on 80. So should I set it higher than 80?
Did it say, excuse me, did it say slippage exceeded?
No, it just say, hold on. It just say failed. Yeah, two slippage. It exceeded.
Slippage exceeded?
Yeah. Should I send you the...
It's a little bit of a tough one, because like when you got your things had an 80% slippage, how many times have I been exceeded since I got that? I think like maybe once or twice max, but I don't even remember if it had happened once or twice. The only time that I had someone put it higher, because they're like, my slippage is exceeding and it's at 80. And then I'm like, well, if you don't want your slippage to exceed, like you can go higher, but like 80 is already like, if you're not getting in there, you don't want to like top candle wick. But he set it up to 90 and it didn't work too favorable to him. It could have been because of his entry size. It could have been because of his gas that was associated with it. So I'm not saying that 90% won't work and be effective. But if you're going to do 90%, I would recommend to test it on a smaller amount, so you don't just get like wrecked on like a 0.5 or a 1 sol amount. Like you like crank your amount quite a bit down. If you're going to test at 90%, make sure that 90% is still profitable.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that on 80. It's just the first time, and now you scared me away with
Dude,
with the maybe not working on my favorite thing and everything. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the first time, I would leave it. I again have not set anything higher than 80 ever. 80 is what I set, and all my stuff works. Like I don't remember ever having a slippage exceeded since 80. But like if I did, it would likely be like they were sniping and stuff, and I couldn't have followed them anyway. So
I don't think he's sniping. Like he just make regular. He sees the coin and just get in with big amounts.
He gets in the first candle though, eh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, if he's getting in the first candle, it's like, you see where that first candle usually goes to, right? If it's like a decently hyped launch, that first candle usually is like higher than the all-time high for quite some time. Like it goes to the top of that first candle. A lot of times if you have your slippage up, you'll get like top wicked. So you'll end up buying like the top of the candle, and then you'll be down unless it ends up, surpassing that candle at some point.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
This can be tabled for tomorrow, another day, but can we do an exercise on testing, right? So I know we talked about it, but I think something more specific, like what should be the testing amount considering slippage and the fees in order for you to be able to see ROI, like even a small one, just to see if this is profitable. Because I found this to be confusing because it seems like it's always a little vague, like if those things are eating into your profit with like small amounts that you're testing. So maybe like purely like a math exercise or something like that. I don't know. One of the calls.
So testing, I mean, that's it's very personal on the decision, and maybe that's why it's been very vague. But let me explain ideally like how I would test in the instance. So I'm not going to put a wallet that doesn't seem, very good. That doesn't seem like it checks all the boxes for me. And we do, between myself and my partner, we do analyze the trades, and, we have a pretty good idea. So just like I did with you guys today, and you saw me taking it to Deck Screener and looking at the trades and stuff, we make sure we go through all this, right? So let's say we have a good wallet. When I tell you guys, this is to be completely transparent, and I hope you guys have felt like it's been that way the whole time. When I tell you guys best practices, that does not always mean that I follow the best practices. I want that to be clear because sometimes I share practices with you and I consider them best practices. And the reason I share them is because I would suggest for everyone to do, and I would even suggest for myself to do. It would save me a lot of grief if I didn't. But everyone has different strategies. So I would say, like, for myself, oftentimes when we check out a trader and it looks good, and we're doing well on the week, we're doing well on our last couple of weeks, we have sold a risk, we will start off that trader at a lower amount than we normally would, but it's still an amount that is like pretty significant, and it would be considered like more than testing. So for example, maybe I would put the trader on a 0.5, or I'd put the trader on a 0.2, and I'm testing with amounts that would still yield me back profit if they hit, but I'm still going to take a significant loss if they don't hit. So in terms of best practicing for testing, I do testing, as I don't always put my traders on full amounts right away. But as far as the testing goes for you, you have to make it make sense to you, right? So for a lot of people doing a 0.2 test, that's just way too high for a test. But for someone like myself, if I'm already looking at the trader, they look good, they're consistent, there's enough history there, I want to have them on at least a 0.2, because if they hit something good like they have been doing in the past, the reason I selected them, I want to at least have some gains that come out with that work out to be substantial to my portfolio size. So my testing works out to be a little bit higher. Now, testing doesn't really matter the amount that you do it on, because if you test on $1 or you test on a 0.2, when you get that profit and loss card, and I suggest all you guys have your profit and loss cards on to see what you're actually making, and Trojan is usually decently accurate for that, but you could analyze it yourself to make sure. But regardless if you test with $1 or you test with 0.2 or you test with 0.5 or you test with a SOL, I'm not telling you guys to test with that high, by the way. I'm just telling you from my experience. But if you test with $1 and it turns out that he made 500%, well, you should have made 500% also if you tested on a SOL.
Right. So the profit loss card will, I believe it includes all the fees, or it subtracts all the fees and everything like that,
Yeah.
that came from slippage into that.
It definitely accounts the slippage portion, which is the biggest portion, right? Because you want to make sure that, like, with the slippage that you hit on that trade, that your profits are representative of that. So if you hit 30% slippage, like, you need that to be accounted, because that if you went in with a SOL, instead of $1 or 0.1 or whatever you did, that it would have been the same amount that you would have had as, let's say that he does 100%. If you hit it with $1 or you hit it with 0.1 and it worked to be 100%, that if you put in your SOL, that it would also be 100%.
Got you. So in essence, it doesn't matter which amount you test with. The P&L card will always show the correct, more or less correct ROI.
More or less. Like, obviously, when you're doing a SOL, let's say you buy it very low market cap, 5 or 10 market cap. When you do a SOL, you're obviously going to have like a price impact yourself, like getting in there. You know what I mean? With a SOL. And that is going to change it a little bit, but testing at even $1 or 0.1 will give you a good enough idea of how much profits you would have made on that trade. So it's going to give you a very good idea.
Great, thank you.
Okay, my question is, when if I want to track a wallet, I don't know which bot am I going to use.
Yeah,
maybe I want to track and see the tokens is buying, maybe like a sniper, for example.
We can go over that tomorrow with the fresh wallets as well, because as we go through the fresh wallets, we're going to need some tracker bots. So I'm going to compile some and we're going to go over that tomorrow. So try to make tomorrow's call. It's going to be a little bit later. Let's say we did this call at like 11, started this call at 11 EST. We're going to start the call tomorrow at around 5, so it'll be around 6 hours from now, 6 or 7 hours. But either way, it's gonna be recorded. So if you can't make it to there, the information will be there tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys. Well, I'll open it up one more time in case someone had a question that they didn't spit out. But if not, we'll close it off here. And
I have one.
Yeah.
I was like talking and I was still muted.
Oh, dude, I did that one time for 30 minutes on on one of these. I would talk to myself for 30 minutes, dude, spitting game, and then realizing that no one could hear me, and yeah, that was fun. Anyways, go ahead.
So maybe for tomorrow or next session, we could talk about the thing of security measures, maybe. Like I've heard that pump.fun got hacked. So maybe we can discuss some safety measures you are using. I would be curious. Maybe that's an interesting thing for not only me.
Yeah, that is a good topic to bring up. If I don't remember to talk about it, like I have a lot of like things I can just spit out just based off my 5 years of trading and being within crypto for different safety things that you can do. So just remind me in the chat that you wanted to talk about that, and we can go into that. I think it's important for everyone to go through. It's something that should be touched on quite often, actually, because a lot of people are new here and they're clicking links that they shouldn't. They're having money in wallets that maybe they shouldn't have, or having too much money in wallets where they're exporting keys. And if that that place they're exporting their keys to ends up getting breached, their wallets can be drained, and they're holding, maybe thousands of dollars in there when they really shouldn't be. So there's a lot of things we could talk about there. I think there's value behind that conversation, and definitely bring it up to me if I don't start going off on it myself. But I really do appreciate you guys bringing ideas towards what you think we should talk about, because I can pretty much talk about it all. There's no topic I really feel uncomfortable within crypto at this point. So if we can, either shoot your ideas off like you just did here, Max, or send me a DM. I'm actually going to see if we can get maybe a separate room where people can, suggest ideas for voice chats. Because if I have so many ideas, I can kind of let's say I got 10 ideas that you guys submitted in a day. I can kind of pick the ideas that I think are most beneficial and the ideas that would also work with them. So maybe I have 1 to 3 to 4 ideas that I could kind of branch into one conversation we could talk about in one day. We are answering a lot of questions, but going over a lot of things that you guys want to touch on.
Yo, morning. What's up, guys? What's up?
Yeah, sounds good, Amiri.
Okay, awesome, Max. Thanks for that question. That was really great, actually.
How's everything good?
Andy, what's up, man? Are you still at the cottage?
Good, man. Yeah, man. I just literally woke up maybe 10 minutes ago.
Oh, when I told you how late I was gonna be up, I'm like, I wonder if this guy thinks that I just sleeping because I have nothing to do. It's nah, man. It's just a long week, and I'm up late with the family trying to make the most of the day. And I didn't even sleep in that late. I was up at maybe 10ish, but I mean,
oh, that's not late, man.
Nah.
Late is me. I'm now getting up 10 minutes ago.
But it's good that, you know what? I used to beat myself up for not waking up early, being like, man, it's already 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And I'm like, I've wasted my day and stuff. But I'm like, man, I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I wasn't up drinking. I wasn't up partying. I was up working. I can't be mad at myself when I do that. And for this weekend, of course, it's a long weekend. I'm trying to spend more time with my family. I can't be mad at myself for staying out, spending time with family.
Exactly. But I just came on to say GM to everybody. And once again, I want to let people know, man, this copy trading thing is possible. I just woke up and picked up my phone, and boom, plus 900% win.
No, you're killing it, dude. I know
Crazy.
I have a little bit of dialogue with you from time to time to congratulate you because we started talking from when you first started copy trading, right? So
Yeah.
I obviously want to like continue to see how you're doing, but seeing like the results in the FOMO room, like I know you're with it, so I'm really really happy to see that. And you know, it's a real true testimony towards people putting in the work and having the results. No work, no pay.
Yeah, exactly. I just, again, like learning from watching the videos or being on these voice chats. It's been really helping me, and it's been really like making my copy trading actually a lot more like successful, and the way that I'm thinking of strategies and the way I'm actually thinking of using like the info that I'm collecting from everything here. It's good to know, because like I said, the way that I see it so far, like at least every day, I know you've got losing days and winning days, but on average so far, like I've been in here for a week now. Today would probably make a week. Today's Monday. Yeah, probably make a week. And out of that week, I've been profitable like 5 days, one minimal loss, and then the other day my traders just didn't fire off that much, to be honest. So, but yeah, man, it's a testament that it does work once you start to really apply yourself and stuff like that. And here's the next thing that I would suggest to people, because I've found it happening to me. I know that most of us might be like, we do the full-on copy trade, which is like we buy when the trader buys and sells when they sell, because that's how we have it set. But however, sometimes, again, when we see profits, guys, we almost got to tell ourselves, you know what, this is where I need to take some of it off, or because sometimes I've found that sometimes the copy trader, they don't fire it off. Like, I don't know if they're going for a moon. I don't know if they went to sleep. I don't know if they went, but some of these trades are like already past initial, and either they didn't take it out, or maybe the bot didn't go off or whatever. But just as, again, maybe for you guys, I think it's just best to, even if you're looking at it or looking at the trade or whatever, take initial out. I've been doing that personally, and I mean, sometimes, like I said, sometimes I'll fire off and it comes out, and then other times, as soon as I see it, I'm taking the initial out, because my thing is, you're never going to lose money once that initial is out. You might go take out the initial and the thing might drop, and you might go, oh man, crap. But did you lose money? No, you didn't. So the way I see it is, if you haven't lost money, even if it's a flat day, it's actually a winning day. So that might be something to help people understand this a bit, because you don't have to. I did it at first, to be honest. I did it at first for a little bit, where it was like, okay, my trader is going to sell. Clearly, he might know more than I do, and my profit was up. Like, let's say it's up past initial, and then I would watch it literally like come back down through my initial, and then I'm the one panic selling it out. And that happened to me one of the days.
Yeah, so I actually brought this up in the beginning of the chat, and there was an instance yesterday, for example, where I'm already like in profit 6 SOL on the trade from what my seller has sold, but I have another 8 SOL or 6 SOL still in the trade, like 6.5 SOL, and I know that it may moon and it could go a lot higher, but at the end of the day, like, that trade for me was like, it was a big trade. It was over, you know, well over $1,000, closer to $2,000. So I'm like, I'm just going to sell this now. I don't care if it does moon, because I know that it can drop too, and I will be happy if I close this trade here. So regardless of, you know, my seller, my copy trader already took profits, I'm already in profits and stuff, I end up selling that portion, so the remaining 6.5 SOL that I had, and it ended up dumping from now on. Like, it didn't dump right away, but it, like, kind of was working its way sideways for a bit, but then it just ended up going down and down and down and down. So I made a good decision. And even if it worked out where it mooned and it went another 2x or a 3x, it would still have been a good decision for me because I took good profits on that trade. And once I considered that good profits, like really good profits, there's no differentiating my brain. I'm going to be happy with those profits, even if it mooned or even if I sold too early.
Nice one, I would say.
What's that? Sorry?
I said nice one.
Yeah, man. No, it was good. I definitely made the right decision. Like I said, there was multiple times during the week when I did the same thing. When Andy is saying, sell your initial, I don't always do that personally at the point that I'm at, because like I kind of want to let things ride until they're in decent profits, or if it's going to dust, sometimes I do let it dust depending on the trader that I'm with, or sometimes I will just sell off because I'm like, this doesn't really look like it's going anywhere. The chart's kind of moving funny, and it's like, I just think that it's better to just take what I have here, regardless if it's a little profit or loss. That happens at times, but you do have to insert yourself based on what's going on currently, right? Like, if you're up, copy trading, let's say you're hitting it like crazy and you've been doing this for some months now and you're up like 150 SOL within the month, then yeah, you can let some things ride more. But if you're not at that point and you're still building up to a really good SOL balance and stuff, like when you see that you're up, 600, 700%, even if you're up 3x and it was on a little bit bigger size than you normally go in, but like you could close that trade and your balance is going to be up a lot from where it was. Like, sometimes you have to just grab profits, and that's part of like my rules and part of my strategies, that if I'm up good, I'm just going to grab those profits. I don't care how good my traders are. Sometimes I'm just going to make that decision to take what I have and be happy with what I have.
You can be very sure that I will implement that in my strategy, or I already did. I just posted it in the FOMO, like literally 2 minutes after we talked. So yeah, I think I'm gonna add that to my strategy too, and see where it takes me.
The strategy becomes stronger the more you implement it. So it's good that we had this conversation and you're already in the mindset of like, oh man, these guys are just taking profits when they're feeling like they hit a good trade. I'm going to do that next time. And you do it, that reaffirms. And especially when you do something and it has a positive result when you make a rule. So say you make a rule and the rule is I'm going to take profits when it looks good and it could really help my balance. And you do that and it works out good for you. It just reaffirms that strategy that you've created is a true and good strategy, because it's resulting in you having more profits and you're happier with the day, whatever, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. I wanted to ask you another question.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask how long you yourself been copy trading.
So I have been copy trading now for like 5 months, but very passively on the first 2 months. I didn't have Zelfi Guru for the first 2 months, and I was just kind of like trying to find my way around getting wallets. I didn't even really know about Zelfi Guru, but then my partner, who wasn't my partner at the time, by the way, he was just someone that I had met in a chat, and we just started talking, and he's like talking to me about like copy trading. I'm like, oh, I do it a little bit. Like, I don't really know too much, but like I'm getting into it. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting into it now too. So he was pretty new at the time too, but he knew about like Zelfi Guru and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I want to sign up for this. Like, it's a really good tool. And I'm like, okay, well, if there's a tool, like, let's do it. So he initially signed up first, and we're working together trying to find wallets. I'm going through, sending him wallets. He's running it through Zelfi Guru and then sending them to me. And I'm like, man, like I need to be checking these wallets too. And so I end up getting it with him. And now, we both run it together and are partners together. I've been working with him every single day since. There hasn't been a single day that we don't wake up in the morning, talk to each other, have a strategy, talk about the trades that have went off. Take time to search for wallets. We're going hard every day since. So I would say the last 3 months have been a very like aggressive approach to copy trading.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You just cut off, so I thought, what's up?
Maybe I went too far from my mic. This mic is good. It's like one of those like mics you use if you were doing say I was sharing my screen and like kind of doing what I'm doing now. If I was doing YouTube videos, this is the kind of mic I'd use. But it's really good because it usually only picks up on my voice. When I have speakers like studio.
Yes, noise canceling.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't pick up on the surrounding. But if I go a little bit too far out of the range, I'm sitting back in my chair, kind of like talking to you guys, it might not pick up my voice. So I think that's what happened.
Yeah, okay, all right. So for the future.
One more quick question I had to answer. What do we ever at any point in time, let's say we've got a coin in our thing. This might be more, you don't have to answer it, but this is what like I had to try to answer. What happens when we don't have a positive coin? Do we just leave it in our wallet, or at what point do we say, okay, it's cluttering up my wallet now, or it's cluttering up my bot? I've got like X amount of coins that are, because obviously, like I said, stuff is firing off constantly depending on how much traders you got. So
you mean zero value coin, like a coin that's
like a coin that's, it's like really low, or when you go now look at the chart, it's like almost like flatline. But I know some people say, oh, you never know, so just leave it, it could wake back up and all that. How's your approach to that?
If it's worth value, like I would usually like sell it if it's worth my time to sell it. But if it's to a point where it's like dusted to the point where it like hardly has any value, I just hide it. And if it ever came back, that's awesome, but I'm not expecting it to come back. I just hide it in my Trojan, so I don't see it when I pull up coins anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, because I was like, Frank, man, like some of the coins, obviously, again, because we're playing probabilities here, etc. Obviously, some of them aren't going to be as profitable. Some of them are going to be pretty low on value or whatever. So you never then ever really delete them or sell or fully sell them, or you just hide them. When I say delete them, I mean you don't sell them, you just hide them.
Well, at some point in time, you might want to actually close out the balances. And it's interesting that not everyone knows about this, but for Solana, every time that you open up a coin and you trade a coin, it creates a new wallet essentially for that coin, and that wallet does cost a little bit, and it's like 0.002. But when you end up closing like hundreds of them at a time from trades that you had, there's sites that you can use, both like it's like my soul something. I'd have to give you the exact site because I don't want you guys finding fake sites to use these. But you can essentially burn all those wallets from those tokens and you get money back. Like there's times where I don't do it for like a month or two, and I get like 2 or 3 soul back.
Oh wow, yeah. If you could post that site for us in some, probably in the flood room or however you plan to do it or whatever, that would be great. Because that would be a good thing. That at least you get back some soul on the back end after you accumulate a fair set of coins, like you said.
Yeah, there's no way to possibly do it in ETH, which is interesting. No way that I know of, at least. And I was on ETH for like 4 years. But in Solo, you can close out these balances and at least get some sold back. Like the first time I ever did it, I didn't know about it. So I'd been trading for quite a while, trading lots of sold tokens, like in and out of tokens and stuff. And I think it was like 3.5 sold that I got back the first time I ever did it. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's good money, you know, for like closing out these zero balance accounts.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, if you could post that, that would be great to just have that tool for us to utilize. Probably like you said, you maybe do it every couple months or something, just to recoup some what soul or whatever.
Yeah, you get that direct soul back to your to your account, to your Phantom or whatever.
Trojan value.
Yeah.
Cool. Wonderful. All right. Yeah, that's it for me.
Trojan actually built it into their thing now. There's a part with Trojan where you can burn 10 tokens at a time. Like they have it built within their bot. I forgot about that. I've never used it, but they just added that feature about a month ago.
Okay, and my next thing was, where do we go to? I know it might be a dumb question, but where do we go to update our Trojan? Because like I seen the post about them rolling out that update with the market cap and all that. Is that out already?
Yeah, with Trojan's updates, they're automatically like synced. So if you go to add a copy trader right now, you weren't here at the beginning. I actually went over this, but if you go add a copy trader right now, you'll see that when you go to add them, that you can set those differentials for them.
When I go to add them, oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. I see what you're saying. Gotcha. And that was explained how to like use this feature earlier on this video.
Oh yeah, I started off the video with that, and I went over it pretty well in depth and used some examples. So if you want to watch just the beginning of this video, you'll be able to pick that up from here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll go back and definitely rewatch the video and get that feature dialed in. All right, great, man. Sure. Appreciate you again. You enjoy your long weekend day here, as I will. Man. And
I'm going to a barbecue. I'm pretty stoked.
Nice.
I haven't been to a barbecue in forever, man. Like since maybe this time last year.
Oh, there you go. That'll be dope. That'll be dope. That'll be sick. Should have some fun. Yeah. You going for all the fam or just you?
No, I'm getting as many as my brothers together as I can. Cool. So I'm picking up my younger brothers. My older brother is already here. He stayed here the last couple nights. So and then we're going to visit, like, I call her my other mother. She was my mom's best friend. So I'm going to visit, like, a close family friend. She's known me since I was a little kid. Yeah. So that's where we're heading.
Cool. Wonderful, man. All right, man. Well, you enjoyed the day for sure, and we'll catch up on the back end or something.
Yeah, for sure, man. You enjoy your day too. I know it's the last day before we are back to the grind, so try to be away from your phone. Let the workers work for you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I appreciate you again, my bud.
Of course. Likewise.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, tell me, when do you should you take profit? Is it like about like 50% or like should you wait for 100? Yeah, tell me.
Go on.
No, go on. I just wanna.
Yeah, so it really depends on your traders. If your traders are on average doing 100%. Then that means that obviously they don't hit 100% every time. That means sometimes they do under, sometimes they do a lot over, sometimes they might do 5x, or sometimes they might do 4x. So it really depends on your trader, and it really depends on the balance that you have. Because if you're really trying to build up your balance and you're up 50%, and that can help you right now, you might want to take that.
Yeah, I see. But like if you have like a different profile of wallets, like some that do 100, some that like do like maybe around 100, but not exactly 100. What should the setting you do in Trojan? Like, should you always go for 50? Like, it's a better option, right?
Well, I think that every time you put a wallet in and you kind of like already worked out a strategy because you could see how they have bought and sold in the past, that you might want to make a note of where you would averagely like to take a profit when this trader trades. So if this trader, really works out to usually get only 50% or 60-70% on their trades, and when they're in and at that range, you might want to start taking your profits then, or just taking your full profit then. But for another trader, he's on average doing about 200%. You might want to let him do his thing and get profits closer to 200% in that instance.
Yeah, I see. How about stop loss? How about not about but when should you stop a trade? Like, is it minus 50% good, or should you not even put it if you believe in the wallet you're copying?
Personally, I don't use stop losses. It doesn't mean it's not a great tool. It's just I've had so many instances where if I did set a stop loss, it'd be around 50%. And I've had so many instances where my traders got down 50% on their trades and then were up 4x on their trades within 20 minutes. So I just don't use stop losses myself. I would rather, close the trade when I wanted to. Like if I see it getting below 50%, I'm looking at the token and whatever. I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look like it's going anywhere. I think it's just going to dust. I'll close it myself, but I don't have stop losses on.
Yeah, but you can't do that if you sleep, right? So that's why I'm.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't trust a trader to trade, you really shouldn't have that trader on when you sleep. Like there's traders that I don't fully trust and I want to monitor. So I only have those traders on when I'm up.
All right. How about the fees? How about let's not about the fees, but how about copy cells? Do you follow his copy cells, or you have your own copy cells?
I follow all of my traders' copy cells. I have 2 take profits. I have 1 take profit what sells 20% at 250%. And then my next take profit is 20% at 1,000%. And those are the only take profits I use personally.
I see. But how about so you don't follow the wallet copy cells, right? When he sell, you don't sell, right?
I do follow the wallet copy cells. I definitely follow. I always follow the wallet copy cells.
All right. Because there is 2 things that happening. If you have your own take profit and the copy cells, if you play with low amount of sol, you lose on fees. For sure you lose on fees. For example, you have
that's something you have to be mindful of. And that's all I can say about that is if you know that if you have a copy cell going with take profits, that those cells can work out to be not profitable because of the amount of fees that you're using. Either you have to restructure your fees, or you have to use a higher SOL amount per trade, so it still works out to be profitable. But you need to find a strategy around that. But if you know that the strategy isn't working right now with both the copy cells and the take profits, then you need to reduce one of those. You need to either remove the copy cell or you have to remove the take profit if you know it's not working for you. If you've already identified something as a broken strategy, you need to fix that.
Yeah, I see. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you.
All right, man. No worries.
Hello.
Hey.
I think you ain't getting out today.
What's that?
I said, I think you ain't getting out today out of this chat.
Yeah, it's okay. It really is okay.
Hello.
I'm here.
Okay, I said, where are they dropping the recorded videos?
Pardon?
As in I think the class is recorded.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
recording and it's going to be posted in the useful info section of the group.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Yeah,
No problem.
I have one more question. What about the slippage? What's your slippage? Should you always go on a trade or like, what is it? Like
I
for
don't
you
know.
personally, what is it?
I always put my slippage at 80, and it's just what works for me, and works based on the traders that I'm trading and stuff. So yeah, you know, that's what I use.
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing is, like, if you sell, like, if you have copy sell on, you always like, if like your trader you're following use a lot of sol, like he can impact the market like very bad. So if you copy sell, like if you follow him when he sell, you probably will not have the like if you
We
like have like plus 100 or like always he do like multiply by 2, you will not have the same shit. Like you will have only plus 20% or something.
We've talked about this many times about the potential price impact of traders, and we look at how these things can occur. And first we look at, you know, the buying amount, how much are they buying, and secondly, it's important to look at how are they selling. Are they selling all in one go? Because if they're selling in one go, and they bought 3 SOL and then they got up to, you know, double, they're now selling 6 SOL and they're selling that all in one go, then on a lower market cap, it's going to have quite a price impact, and you know you're selling at the bottom of that. So in a lot of strategies, it doesn't make sense to follow a trader that's going to do that if it's totally going to eat away at your profit. But again, you've already recognized this. So because you've recognized this about this individual trader that you're specifying, you need to make a plan that works around it. And if there's no plan to work around it, that means it's not a trader you should be copying.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, man.
No problem.
Leave as long as you can, bro.
What's that?
I said leave as long as you can.
I wanted to say the
same. It's really okay. I mean, I don't really mind that much. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Like the worst part about doing these voice chats for me is not doing the voice chat. It's the anticipation of doing the voice chat, knowing that I like, especially days when I have it scheduled for 6 and I'm waking up early and I'm doing my thing, going throughout my day, and I'm like, okay, I got to do the voice chat. I should plan this. I want to talk about this. I'm thinking about things. I'm just like anticipating it all day. That part's the part that's annoying for me. And once I'm on the voice chat and we're talking and whatever, like as soon as I start going, it's fine. The anticipation is the only part that's really annoying to me.
I get you. I'll be honest with you. I normally hate these kinds of things like group chats and that, but I'm really, really enjoying it with you. So thanks for the knowledge. Thanks for your know-how and all of that.
No problem, man. That's great to hear, because at the end of the day, the only way this is beneficial to everyone is if people are coming here and they're getting value out of it. If you guys aren't getting value out of it, like, it's a waste of my time and it's a waste of your time. So I'm happy to hear the positive feedbacks. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, then I'll leave you to your free day off. Ours is almost done. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow then. What time will you say? Did you say so?
It's going to be probably a little later tomorrow. I mean, I could do it earlier. I could do it really anytime tomorrow. That's the thing. I really could do it anytime tomorrow, but I just don't always know what time works best for people. And there's really not a time that really does work best for everyone, because everyone's around the world. You know, someone's going to be sleeping when someone's awake, right? So I have been scattering the voice chats where at the beginning, we were doing them mostly at night, my time, just getting into the evening. And then through the weekend, we've been doing them a little bit earlier, my time. So afternoon, my time. But we'll figure out what works best for everyone. And I don't know, at the end of the day, they're recorded. So like, if you really want to, attend them, try your best to, but like, if you can't, they're recorded. You're going to get good knowledge if you actually take the time to listen to. So.
Oh, okay. You're in Toronto, you said, yeah?
Close to you, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so yeah. So it's now 1, half to 2, is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
what time did you say?
I was thinking maybe tomorrow we could do like night again, but if these times
Yeah.
work better for everyone, then I can do these times this week. Throughout the week I can do around these times if people prefer these times.
I don't know about
for
the
me,
others.
it's a good time. Very good.
What's that?
I just said it's good time for me. So, but I think maybe we have to make a new. We have to ask the people maybe again. Some new guys come in for when it's better for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if I can get a voice chat channel made up where we like just talk about all things voice chat, like things that we want to go over for the next voice chats, for what times work best for people and stuff.
That would be cool.
I'll talk to the team about it and see if that's something that's possible, because it'd make it a little bit easier for me, because right now I'm going off based off what I think is best, but the time I'm not going to be able to dial down correctly unless I get more input into that, because I can keep on trying times, and like all the times that I try, it's seeming like the same amount of people make it out to it at that time. So the time differential really hasn't changed much. But as far as like the topics we talk about and everything goes, I'm down to talk about whatever. It's just mostly what's going to be beneficial for you guys.
Now, I have a question. Do you go over and over again? Because some days new people joins, they didn't get what we talked about in the last couple of days. So do you start over and over again, or do you just keep moving and they can watch the videos and all of that?
I've been moving forward, but at some point in time, there's going to have to be some redundancy, meaning going over things that I've already gone over before and people have already heard before and stuff. And that is just the fact of copy trading is very complicated when you first start. But if we break it down, and I did in one video, I said, here's what I would learn if I was a new copy trader. And there was a video about that just like maybe 3 days ago. And I kind of broke down everything you would have to learn. And basically, if you watch that video, it's like there's not so much that I can go over. There is obviously, things that I can deeper dive into and like go over strategies, and I can find things to go over. But in a nutshell, copy trading is very basic once you really understand it, and my job is to make you guys really understand it. So at some point you might come to these voice chats because you like to hang out and you might have some questions about something, but like for the most part you don't really need to come to the voice chats because you have such a deep understanding, because I went over it well enough where you have all that information and you're able to execute on a high level now.
Yeah, you would think that, but actually sometimes you drop some shit and then I'm like, oh, okay. Like I oversaw something and you just catched up on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like this burn stuff with Solana where you get money back. That's I didn't know.
That's the example, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I'm learning with you guys, and I'm actively working to become a better copy trader. So like each and every day I do find myself learning about things, and I come into the chat the next day sharing some experiences of what I've learned, new rules that I implement and stuff like that. So we will forever have, different things to talk about, but at some points it will be a little bit redundant as we go through info when someone asks a question that we've already answered, 5 times. 10 times, but it is what it is, right? Like as long as we're making the most out of everyone's time here, then it's good.
Sorry to
Nice.
interrupt. I did have experience in one situation that one of the token that I got was honey potted, and then I know there is a burning mechanism in the Trojan, and then which I used it, and then it works great, but it just won't burn the honey pot, the token that is being frozen.
Because that token, your account now on that for that token is frozen, you don't actually have access for the abilities to burn it.
Yeah, so that I can only hide the token, right? And
Yeah,
then
just
nothing else
hide
I
it.
can do. Okay.
Nothing else you can do. No.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Can these kinds of honeypot tokens affect our wallets in any kind of way? Because I know for a fact that if you have tokens on your private wallet and you interact with them, they can like reroute your transactions.
It's freezing the access to access that token on that specific account, which is that token account. So it won't interfere with any of your other tokens. It's not a breach to your wallet.
So none kind of token can like reroute the transactions I do on private wallet?
Not as far as I'm aware of, man. As long as you're staying away from links and connecting your wallet to things you shouldn't be connecting it to, you shouldn't have a breach. But as far as security goes, you should be keeping, if you have a large sum of money, anything over like $500, $1,000, it should be stored in a ledger or a Trezor wallet, which is a hard wallet, which needs two-step authentication. To use it, you actually have to enter in a password that you create physically to the device before you send out tokens. So if anyone did ever get access to your account and they went to send out tokens, it would never be able to send out tokens to the address that they want them to go to because you didn't confirm it on the device. But we can talk more about security in another voice chat where it's part, like, we can make that a larger part of a voice chat.
Yeah, I would like to hear that.
Yeah, so maybe tomorrow that's something we could go over. I'm happy to have ideas that you guys want to talk about, at least because now I have some things that I don't really have to do too much brainstorming myself. If we're talking about security, it's pretty easy for me to go through that. And yeah.
So Amiri, you are happy when we are DMing you some ideas to can speak of, then you would be happy, right?
Yeah, dude. DMs, questions, anything like that. Like, some people are like, I really like to help people and stuff, and like, I'm the type to like, I feel better helping people than I do helping myself. You know what I mean? Like, I obviously work on myself so I can be good for the people around me, but I like to be at service to others. I feel like everyone's at their best when they're at service to others.
Yeah, that's cool. That's nice.
Yeah, so never hesitate to, give me some feedback or ask questions in my DMs. I might not get to them right away, but I do get to them when I can, and I try to answer them as well as I can. And yeah, obviously, you guys know you can always ask me questions at voice chat and stuff, and that might be the best because you can get a more full answer. And you can kind of get more feedback and stuff. But if it's in a time where you have a question and it's through DM, I'm fine with that too.
All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna leave you then. See you or hear you tomorrow. And yeah, for the rest of the chat, W's in your wallets. See you then.
Bye bye.
All right, I think that is a good closing. By Lucius there. So I'm gonna close it there, guys. It was a very productive voice call. I enjoyed it. I think we went over a lot of things that we didn't really touch on before that just kind of slid into the conversation. and we have more to talk about in the upcoming voice calls. Remember, my DMs are always open. Although I might not get back instantly, I will get back to you at some point. If I, for some reason, didn't, you can always ping me again. It's not going to annoy me. It's just because I have a lot coming through and I might have missed something. But anyways, it's the start of a new week, guys. You know, for me, it still feels like it's a weekend because I got the holiday here. But for many of you guys, it's the start of a new week. So really see how you can dig in today to start your week off really strong, so we can talk about what's going on Friday, and I can hear about, you know, the results that you guys had from the week because you really made an intentional effort to start it off really strong. And we can talk about how we're closing it off come Friday, Saturday's chat. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you at the next one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.